2 weeks later, everything changed. They were both invited to a company gala. Taehyung wore a sleek black suit, his hair styled softly, eyes lined just enough to highlight his natural beauty. Jungkook couldn't stop staring. He hated that he couldn't stop. The jealousy, the tightness in his chest when other men complimented Taehyung, it terrified him. On the drive back, Jungkook was silent, gripping the steering wheel too tightly. Taehyung turned to him. "You're upset?" Jungkook didn't answer. "Did I do something wrong?" Jungkook still didn't respond. "Jungkook, please talk to me." "I didn't like people looking at you," Jungkook snapped. Taehyung's breath caught. "Oh, so that was it." "Why?" Taehyung whispered. Jungkook clenched his jaw, his voice low, almost angry at himself. "Because you're mine." Taehyung's heart stopped. Mine. The word sank deep. When they reached home, tension hung thick in the air. Jungkook stepped closer. Taehyung backed up instinctively until his back touched the wall. Jungkook placed a hand beside his head. His voice was low, breath uneven. "I don't know how to handle this. You make me feel things I'm not supposed to feel." Taehyung whispered. "Like what?" Jungkook swallowed hard. "Like wanting you near me. Like wanting to touch you. Like wanting to keep you, and I don't know how to deal with that." Taehyung's voice trembled. "Jungkook, it's okay to feel." "No," Jungkook whispered, pained. "Not for me." "Why not?" Jungkook didn't answer. Instead, he leaned in slowly, hesitantly, giving Taehyung enough time to stop him. Taehyung didn't stop him. Their lips met softly first, shy, confused, trembling. But then Jungkook kissed him deeper with a hunger he didn't know he had been holding back. Taehyung's fingers curled around Jungkook's shirt, pulling him close. Jungkook pressed him against the wall, breath uneven, voice breaking. "Taehyung, tell me to stop." Taehyung whispered against his lips, "I don't want you to stop." And Jungkook kissed him again, harder, deeper, desperate in ways he had never shown before. That night, they ended up in bed together, hands trembling, breaths uneven, intimacy shifting from tense to gentle, painful to soft, hesitant to wanting. Jungkook was careful, gentle, almost scared of hurting him. Taehyung held him close, whispered comfort into his neck, told him it was okay, told him he wasn't alone. For the first time, Jungkook let someone in, let Taehyung see him without walls. Their first night wasn't wild. It was emotional, fragile, soft. Two broken souls trying to fit together without knowing how. Jungkook stayed awake a long time, staring at Taehyung's sleeping face, terrified because he realized he was already falling. And falling made him vulnerable. The next morning, Jungkook was gone. No note, no message, no explanation. Taehyung woke up alone in cold sheets. His chest ached. But he told himself Jungkook just needed time. He didn't know that this was the beginning of the pain to come. The beginning of heartbreak. The beginning of the tragedy before the storm. Taehyung always thought pregnancy was something beautiful. He had never imagined it would come to him wrapped in confusion, fear, and trembling hands, clutching a test he didn't know how to react to. It started with nausea, then dizziness, then fainting for a few seconds in the kitchen while reaching for a glass of water. The doctor's gentle smile confirmed what Taehyung didn't dare believe. "You're 4 weeks pregnant, Mr. Kim." Taehyung froze. His heart stopped. Pregnant. Pregnant. His fingers trembled where they gripped the edge of the chair. A baby. Jungkook's baby. Their baby. Shock crashed into him, followed by a shaky whisper escaping his throat. "A baby?" The doctor nodded. Yes, you need good rest, stress-free environment, and someone to care you closely. Someone. Someone. Jungkook. Taehyung pressed a hand over his stomach, tears burning his eyes. A small life inside him, his and Jungkook's. Their first real bond. A piece of him and a piece of Jungkook combined into something innocent and fragile. His mind raced with emotions he couldn't untangle. Fear, hope, joy, terror. He left the clinic slowly, his heart pounding so loud it drowned the traffic outside. Jungkook, how will you react? A painful smile touched Taehyung's lips. He knew Jungkook wasn't ready for emotional closeness. He knew Jungkook struggled, but a baby could change things. Maybe Jungkook would soften. Maybe he would finally accept Taehyung. Maybe he would take a step toward love, even if not much, even if just a small change. Taehyung was willing to take anything Jungkook gave. Anything. He walked home with trembling excitement, hands protectively covering his stomach. And for the first time since the marriage, he let himself imagine a future with Jungkook. Jungkook was already home when Taehyung arrived. He stood in the living room, tie loose, hair messy, stress evident in every line of his posture. Taehyung entered softly, holding his report and ultrasound picture close to his chest. Jungkook looked up. "Tae," he said. Taehyung's heart fluttered. Jungkook rarely used his nickname. "Jungkook, I need to tell you something important." Jungkook's eyes narrowed slightly. "Did something happen? You look pale." Taehyung took a step closer. His voice trembled. I went to the doctor today." Jungkook's whole body went stiff. "Are you sick?" No, not sick." Taehyung shook his head quickly. "It's something else?" He held out the report with a small smile that was full of fragile hope. "I'm pregnant." Silence. Pure, heavy silence. Jungkook didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Taehyung's voice softened, barely a whisper. "It's ours, Jungkook, our baby." Jungkook closed his eyes for a second. Taehyung waited, heart racing. Waited for a smile, for surprise, for happiness, for anything. Jungkook finally opened his eyes. And they were cold, colder than Taehyung had ever seen. "You need to abort it." The ground beneath Taehyung's feet disappeared. "What?" he whispered, voice cracking. Jungkook's eyes hardened. "I said you need to abort it." Taehyung shook his head slowly, unable to comprehend. "Jungkook, no, it's our baby." "I don't want a baby," Jungkook snapped. "And you shouldn't have gotten pregnant." Taehyung stepped back as if slapped. His voice trembled. "You're blaming me?" Jungkook's hands trembled slightly, betraying the control he fought so hard to maintain. "You don't understand. I can't risk it," he said, almost whispering to himself. I've lost too much already. I can't." Taehyung's heart shattered. "Lost? What do you mean? You're asking me to destroy our child because of some fear?" Jungkook didn't look at him. "You wouldn't understand. I just can't choose between me and this child." The words pierced Taehyung like icy daggers. His hands shook, his vision blurred with tears. I can't. I love you, and I can't do that." Jungkook stood abruptly, towering and rigid, but inside his chest was breaking. Then you're making a mistake," he said, voice strained, "and I can't be a part of it if you do." Taehyung sank to the floor, sobbing. The love he had felt, the hope, the trust, it all seemed to crumble around him. The man he loved, the man he had given his heart to, was asking him to abandon the very life he carried. Hours passed in silence, broken only by Taehyung's quiet sobs and Jungkook's rigid breathing. For the first time, the warmth, the hope, the connection between them seemed impossible, distant, lost. And yet, deep in the shadows of Jungkook's heart, fear roared, fear of loss, fear of history repeating itself, fear of tragedy that had haunted him for years. But he couldn't explain it. He only knew that the thought of losing Taehyung and this child, whether real or imagined, made him recoil. Taehyung clutched his abdomen, tears falling freely. I love you, Jungkook, he whispered. I love you, and I cannot. Jungkook's eyes flickered, a storm of emotion behind his cold gaze, but he said nothing. And in that silence, broken hearts spoke louder than words ever could. The apartment was silent, suffused with a cold tension that made the air itself feel heavy. Taehyung sat on the edge of the bed, hands trembling, fingers clutching the hem of his shirt. His mind raced, trying to process the storm that had erupted between them just hours ago. He had never felt so lost, so utterly rejected. Jungkook, his husband, the man he loved more than anything, had asked him to make the most impossible choice of his life. Choose between me and this child. Jungkook's words had cut through him like jagged knives. Tears rolled down Taehyung's cheeks as he pressed his palms to his face, trying to quiet the sobs threatening to escape. Why? He whispered into the emptiness of the room. Why would you ask me to do this? I love you. I've given you everything. And you finish. His throat tightened, choked with grief. He had imagined a life with Jungkook filled with warmth, love, and laughter. And now it felt like that dream had been ripped away. Meanwhile, Jungkook paced near the window, his back to Taehyung. The rain outside mirrored the turmoil in his chest. Steady, relentless, cold. He clenched his fists, trying to suppress the emotions threatening to spill over. I can't lose you, he muttered, more to himself than to Taehyung. His voice was rough, strained with the weight of fear. I can't. I've already lost too much. I won't. Taehyung looked up, eyes red and swollen, and saw the rare vulnerability etched into Jungkook's rigid frame. For a brief second, he glimpsed a man imprisoned by fear, by past pain, by memories that haunted him more than he could admit. Not asking you to love me, Taehyung said softly, voice trembling. I'm asking you, don't ask me to destroy this life. Don't ask me to destroy our child. I love you, Jungkook. I can't do that. I won't. Jungkook's chest tightened. His jaw was clenched so hard that it could crack, but he couldn't look at Taehyung. You don't understand, he said, voice low, almost shaking. I've seen what loss does, what it takes, what it leaves behind. I can't. You're afraid? Taehyung whispered, moving closer despite the trembling in his own limbs. You're afraid of losing me. But this isn't about fear, Jungkook. This is about love, about life, about us. Jungkook's hands shook at his sides. You don't know. You don't understand what it's like to lose someone you love, to watch them die, to feel helpless forever. I can't go through that again. Not with you, not with this child. Taehyung froze, understanding flickering in his eyes. Could that be why he's so cold? Why he's so distant? But the pain in his chest didn't ease. If anything, it deepened. So, it's me or the child, Taehyung said, voice barely a whisper. I can't choose. I love both of you. I can't lose either. How can you ask me this? Jungkook turned finally, his eyes dark, haunted, filled with a storm of conflicting emotions. I'm Sorry, he said, the single word breaking like a whisper against the silence. I don't know how else to protect you, protect us. I can't risk it. I can't. Taehyung's tears fell freely now, his body shaking as he whispered, Then what am I supposed to do, Jungkook? Am I supposed to just obey you even if it breaks me? Even if it destroys the life I carry? Jungkook looked away, chest heaving. He wanted to move toward Taehyung, to wrap him in his arms, to tell him that he loved him more than life itself. But fear, panic, and old wounds chained him in place. You don't understand, he whispered again. I can't handle losing someone I love. Not like that. Not ever again. Taehyung's sobs grew louder, echoing through the empty apartment. I can't lose you either, he cried. I need you, Jungkook. I need both of you and you. You're pushing me away. For a long moment, they stared at each other, one full of desperate grief, the other frozen in fear and pain. It was as if the world had shrunk to the small, aching space between them, a chasm filled with unspoken words, regrets, and heartbreak. Finally, Jungkook's voice broke, raw and low. I can't. I don't know what to do. Finally, Jungkook's voice broke, raw and low. I can't. I don't know what to do. Taehyung sank to the floor, hugging his knees, tears streaming freely. Then I guess we're lost, he whispered. I love you, but I can't. I can't live like this, afraid of you leaving me, afraid of losing either of us. Jungkook stood still, chest heaving, haunted by the thought of losing Taehyung. And in that moment, the distance between them felt insurmountable, a frozen wall neither knew how to cross. As Taehyung cried, Jungkook's eyes softened slightly. A storm of guilt, fear, and unspoken love raged within him. He wanted to hold Taehyung, to beg him to stay, to explain everything, his past, his losses, his fears, but the words caught in his throat. And so they remained torn apart, two hearts intertwined by love, yet separated by fear, trauma, and unspoken truths. The room was silent once again, but the ache lingered, a promise that the story was far from over. Taehyung left the penthouse the next morning. He packed slowly, cried silently, held his stomach protectively. Jungkook watched him from the doorway, face blank, eyes dark, fists clenched so tightly they turned white. Taehyung looked at him one last time. If you ever decide to be the father of this baby, you can come find us. Jungkook's lips parted. For a moment, it looked like he wanted to stop him, but fear won over love. And Jungkook said nothing. Taehyung left, the door closed. The silence that followed was the loudest sound in Jungkook's life.